We're talking about celebrities, and I know what you're thinking, Rachel, I thought you cared about sustainability. I do, but you know what I care about more? Drama. Before I reveal who's on the naughty and who's on the nice list, I want to talk about how I came up with the rankings. We used math. So everyone's getting points out of 100. The lower your point number, the naughtier you are. If you're 100 out of 100, you're super sustainable. Closer to a 0, you're not sustainable. So every celebrity is scored based on 3 key factors. The first is carbon footprint. How much damage are they doing to the environment through flying around on private jets, spending a bunch of their money on stuff that isn't good for the environment? Second thing, sustainable behavior. Are they actually living sustainability in their day-to-day life? Are they donating to environmental causes? Are they investing in sustainable businesses? And then activism and influence. Are they using their platform to advocate for environmentalism, or are they just using it as a way to promote luxury lifestyle, excessive waste, etc.? Let's talk about everybody on the naughty list, because that's way more fun than talking about the good people, the villains. Everybody needs to just direct their hate towards these people, right? Like, no, it's important to think about how I can help, but how someone who is a multimillionaire can help even more. I don't have any personal issues with these people. They could change things for the better, and let's encourage them to do that. Number 1, do you know who it is? I'll give you a hint. They have a show. They are on it when they feel like it. It's like, it's a privilege to her family whenever she's around. It's like a special treat. It's Kylie Jenner. So like all of the celebrities on this list, Kylie owns her own private jet. According to Celebrity Private Jet Tracker, in 2024, Kylie's private jet emitted 1,600 metric tons of CO2 into the atmosphere. Most people only emit 300 metric tons of CO2 in their entire life. She is emitting multiple people's lifetimes of CO2 annually. She's literally taking leisure travel flights that have been 17 minutes long. It's this culture, which you can clearly see on her Instagram, of just like, I'm feeling bored, where should I go? Oh, I'm just gonna like jump on my jet. You know, it's more convenient for me. Again, we're happy for her that she's successful, but why not be successful and then use that success to help the environment instead of just exploiting it? So for that reason, Kylie gets a carbon footprint score of 2 out of 10. And I gave her 2 points because I'm sure she walks sometimes. Now to her sustainable behavior, which is pretty bad. So Kylie Jenner owns Kylie Cosmetics, which is a makeup company that she started in 2015. It's been a very successful company for her overall. The problem with this is everything is encased in plastic. The tube is plastic, the applicator is plastic, it gets shipped to you in plastic. It's just literally just layers of plastic to hold a little bit of goo that makes you look cute. And I get it. I love goo that makes me look cute. I try to buy goo that makes me look cute that isn't sold in layers and layers and layers of plastic. The other issue with Kylie is that every season, multiple times a year, she comes out with a new product. It's color changing, like there's always a gimmick. It goes beyond makeup as necessity. It's makeup for entertainment. You don't need 8 lipsticks that are dark red. I didn't even get into the fact that everything is made overseas and then shipped. Put it on a giant ship, ship it over here, or a plane, shipping. Like CO2 is just flying just so someone can have Grinch lipstick. Like, what are we doing? And then we just look at her lifestyle. There's no effort at sustainability. She's buying luxury this, luxury that. There's no attempt to try underconsumption or be eco-friendly in any way. So she's getting a 0 out of 10 for sustainable behavior. And then also for activism and advocacy, her score is also 0 out of 10. So her total score is 8 out of 100. Coming in at number 2 of most naughty on the environmental naughty list is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's famous for being a soccer player. Did you know? He's scored many goals. Many goals. Ronaldo is so famous, his social media posts have a carbon footprint. Every time Ronaldo posts on Instagram, 17 metric tons of CO2 are released into the atmosphere from every single person looking at it, sharing it. That's just from a post, one post. Now I know that he can't control that, but he can control owning 2 private jets, multiple luxury vehicles, multiple mega mansions, and just having an overall very consumeristic lifestyle. For example, he has a Bugatti Chiron. I think I'm saying it right. His Bugatti Chiron gets about 9 miles per gallon in city driving. For context, most people's cars get 21. When you think about it, this car is literally just like dumping gasoline out the window. I'm looking at this car like, this is a cool car, but the world is on fire. We don't have time for that anymore, okay? You can have 2. I'll give you 2. You can have 2 Bugatti Chiron, and I'll let you have like 1 SUV for all your kids. That's it. A normal SUV. How about a hybrid SUV? Let's just try not having a car collection that is essentially just like 20 big gas dumpers. Let's look at another luxury purchase. Like he has a Jacob & Co. watch. It's covered in Savara gemstones. They're sourced in Kenya and Tanzania. The mining practices are very invasive. They lead to deforestation, soil degradation, and biodiversity loss in these countries that have already been exploited in so many ways I can't even conceptualize it, just so that someone can have a watch covered in green stones. There are sustainable ways to get nice jewelry. There's vintage jewelry that's gorgeous and just as nice as what you have. I could cite many more examples of things that Ronaldo owns that are bad for the environment and talk about the specifics of why, but again, I'll be here all day. He gets a carbon footprint score of 3 out of 10. At least he flies a lot for work instead of just leisure. In terms of sustainable behavior, he promotes a very consumeristic lifestyle. When you work hard, you pollute the planet to human extinction. Is that how it goes? And then activism, again, he's not doing anything. Super nice guy, I'm sure. So he's getting 0s for both of those. So his total score is a 12 out of 100.
Yeah, tell a man no trouble. I don't want beef, man. I just want vibes.
This one is especially naughty, but somehow he's at number 3. So Floyd Mayweather is famous for being one of the greatest boxers of all time. He had an undefeated record. He's one of the highest earners in sports history. His entire brand is, ooh, I got a Gucci, ooh, showing off my Louis Vuitton. Oh, I'm over here flexing Fendi. His entire brand is a flex. And it's like, okay, I get it. You worked hard. You want to buy yourself nice things. You want to have a nice lifestyle. I'm not saying you can't have a nice lifestyle. I'm saying, does your nice lifestyle need to destroy the planet at such a high degree? So let's get into specifics here of what Floyd's doing in terms of his carbon footprint. He's the greatest boxer ever, and he's great at emitting CO2, honey. Floyd Mayweather owns 2 private jets. That's already too many, honey. I prefer that you have none. So according to climatejets.org, Floyd's jets emitted an estimated 2,000 metric tons of CO2 into the atmosphere in 2022. He's bragging about traveling all the time, on a whim, taking super short flights. That's pretty much all he's doing. I don't see a lot of like his business decisions or anything like that affecting the environment in the way like Kylie Jenner has, for example. And so for that, I'm giving him a 4 out of 10 for his carbon footprint. And then again, sustainable behavior and activism and influence, 2 big 0s. He's not doing anything. So altogether, Floyd Mayweather's final score is a 16 out of 100.
I go over anything like ranch. Facts. Think I want a yacht and a ranch. Yes.
Ooh. Number 4, Travis Scott. Travis Scott is way cooler than me. Very talented, really good at polluting. His private jet in 2024 emitted an estimated 5,000 metric tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, according to Celebrity Jet Tracker. It's bad. It's really bad. It's lifetimes of CO2 in a year. Then if we're looking at other behaviors, his music does promote this kind of like wasteful, hyper-consumeristic lifestyle, specifically talking about having luxury cars, luxury clothes, having a lot of money. That kind of attitude that he's promoting is not one that is good for the environment. The specific brands that he promotes in his music, like Nike, Dior, Louis Vuitton, etc., these brands have a lot of sustainability issues, like overproduction, a high carbon footprint, and using harmful materials like synthetic fabrics. So the problem is that when really cool, talented people promote this lifestyle, it continues this legacy, assigning such a high value to things that have such a high cost on our environment. Travis Scott's carbon footprint score is also a 4 out of 10, and his activism and influence scores are also zeros. Again, he's not doing anything to promote environmentalism or pull back on spending, do anything eco-friendly, really. This brings Travis Scott's total score to a 16 out of 100. I hope Taylor Swift and I don't have any bad blood because I'm putting her at number 5. So Taylor Swift has gotten a lot of bad press in the last couple of years for being the most polluting celebrity. I haven't seen any numbers to actually back up that claim, but there was a lot of environmental uproar over how much CO2 she was emitting, and her team's reaction to that was to buy carbon offsets. So carbon offsets are essentially credits that a person can purchase to compensate for their carbon emissions. These offsets fund projects that reduce or remove greenhouse gases. One example of a carbon offset that Taylor Swift probably bought was reforestation. The way reforestation works is it's literally just planting new trees, obviously. Trees in these carbon offset programs are just planted willy-nilly. They're not planted in environments where they can thrive, so a lot of them die or can't sustain enough growth to actually offset CO2. The idea of it sounds great, but the reality is that the behavior needs to be changed at the source, not band-aided later. But anyway, her carbon footprint, she gets a 2 out of 10. The biggest issue I have in terms of sustainability with Taylor is the merch and the vinyl records. So Taylor Swift is a merch queen. She's selling t-shirts, she's selling sweatshirts, she's selling cardigans, girl. The Taylor vibes are all over everyone, and it has to be every new album, and she releases albums like Elon Musk releases children. She does multiple vinyl releases for the same album. So she'll be like, oh, this is the album release, and there's the first vinyl. She's like, oh, there's secret songs on another vinyl release, and oh, there's secret songs plus even more secret songs. And every single vinyl is just like a big old wasty waste. Sell one vinyl. Another thing is concert waste. She uses a lot of energy in her concerts, confetti, which just gets thrown away. So you can get biodegradable balloons, biodegradable confetti, all that stuff. To my knowledge, she's not doing any biodegradable anything. The only thing that's degrading here is my freaking sanity thinking about this. That one of my favorite artists is a massive polluter. So she gets a 2 out of 10 for sustainable behavior. Activism and influence, she gets a 3 out of 10 because she did donate. So her overall score is a 23 out of 100. I'm a fan of her music, not the unsustainable behavior. That wraps up the naughty list. Now let's talk about everyone who's on the nice list. So coming in at number 1, we have Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo is famous for being the Hulk in the Marvel universe. He's famous for being cute, and it seems like he prioritizes flying privately as little as possible. He said in a 2020 interview that he thinks celebrities should not be flying in private jets frequently. Mark also is famous for driving electric vehicles. He's talked about driving his Kia EV, and he used to own a BMW i3, which are really great fuel-efficient cars. We can 100% get into the nitty-gritty of the fact that electric car production is not currently that much more sustainable holistically than driving gas vehicles. If we can work on ways to make EV battery production more sustainable, less harmful to the planet, like if we can come up with alternative fuel sources, in the future, buying an electric car or like a fuel-efficient car is going to be a better option. Honey, it's a lot better than having 20 Bugattis. He's sitting in a freaking Kia. In an interview, he said that he has put solar panels in his yard to power his home. Like, wow, he's really doing it. So Mark Ruffalo gets a carbon footprint score of 9 out of 10. So beyond these things, Mark is really into activism and advocacy. So he's really into talking about the climate more than most celebrities. Mark Ruffalo became an outspoken activist against fracking in 2008 when companies were planning to drill near his home in upstate New York. So he started a nonprofit called Water Defense, and through that nonprofit, he was able to push lawmakers to eventually ban fracking in New York. He also founded the Solutions Project, the goal of which is to have a 100% renewable energy future, which is like so utopian. He produced and starred in a movie called Dark Waters. It's about a chemical company in the United States that knowingly dumped forever chemicals into the water supply. This led to a lot of health issues for local residents in Ohio and West Virginia. It really raises awareness on corporate corruption and the importance of protecting our water supply. Great environmental movie. For sustainable behavior, he gets a 9 out of 10. Activism and influence, honey, 10 out of 10. You're literally founding nonprofits. That's a huge accomplishment. Mark Ruffalo gets 93 out of 100. Just great. Overall, we love Mark Ruffalo. So our second most sustainable celebrity is Emma Watson. It's Hermione. So when it comes to carbon footprint, Emma Watson really is doing the most. She is not a private jet owner, and she's not traveling by plane like excessively. People have even seen her traveling by train in Europe. It seems like she's really putting a lot of effort into sustainable travel, which is awesome. Emma has driven a Toyota Prius. She's owned an Audi S3, a Lexus RX 350. If she has cars, she's like using them practically. So Emma Watson's CO2 score is an 8 out of 10. Wow, this girl is amazing. Wait till you see this. This is crazy. So Emma founded this Instagram account called @thepresstour. The goal of this account was to show all the clothing she was wearing during her press tour for Beauty and the Beast that year. So what's the sustainable solution to having to have a new outfit every day, sometimes multiple times a day? Finding vintage clothing, companies that make things sustainably. She documented what she was wearing, how it was sustainably sourced. This account is such an amazing example of how you can still look gorgeous, but do it in a more sustainable way. She gets a 9 out of 10 for sustainable behavior. Emma is also a UN Goodwill Ambassador. She uses her platform there to encourage consumers to make mindful purchases, support sustainable fashion. She has spoken out about how climate change disproportionately affects women in developing countries. She also served as a board member for Kering, which is the company behind Gucci and Balenciaga. Her job there was to help promote more eco-friendly policies within the luxury fashion industry, which is really cool. Activism and advocacy, honey, 9 out of 10. So all of her numbers added up, her final score is an 86 out of 100. Number 3 on the list is Chris Martin. If you didn't know, Chris Martin is the lead singer of Coldplay, famous for many songs including Viva La Vida, Yellow. Coldplay avoids private jets for their tours, so that already cuts down a lot on their CO2 emissions. Everyone in the band, the crew, they use commercial jets, trains, and electric vehicles as much as possible. On top of that, they encourage their fans to travel to their locations as sustainably as possible. Part of buying a ticket was that you got a discount on public transportation to the venue. They had kinetic dance floors so fans could generate electricity to power their set. They also used portable solar panels to charge equipment. All of their merch was made from 100% organic cotton. Overall, this tour is just so many different examples of how a musical artist specifically can still spread the positivity and message of their music while also spreading the positive message of environmentalism. So Chris Martin, because he's traveling so much, his carbon footprint score is 8 out of 10. We really appreciate that he's trying to reduce his emissions, but he is still emitting quite a bit because he's been touring so much. Moving on to his sustainable behavior. In a lot of his performances, he's tried to use ethical fashion and recycled materials. Chris Martin and Coldplay have partnered with companies like Neste, DHL, and BMW to create sustainable practices that make their tours more eco-friendly. So for all these reasons, he gets a 9 out of 10 for sustainable behavior. Amazing. Finally, activism and advocacy. So in his lifetime, he's worked with a bunch of environmental organizations. Just a few of them are Client Earth, the Ocean Cleanup, Global Citizen, Project Seagrass. All of these organizations that he's picked to work with are really impactful, and it's just another way of him taking it a step further to show that he really cares about the environment. So he gets a score of 9 out of 10 for activism and advocacy. Adding up all of Chris Martin's figures, his total score is 86 out of 100. Awesome! I think that's an A. Is that a B+? I think it's a B+. B+. So, number 4 is Joaquin Phoenix. He's been in amazing movies like The Joker, Gladiator, Walk the Line, and he has a net worth of $80 million. Everything in his life and the culture around him just screams spend excess, 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 but he's actually decided to go against that grain. He has a Porsche, a Volvo, and he has a Tesla Model X, which is obviously an electric car. He's not being ridiculous. He's publicly advocated for celebrities to use private jets less frequently. He's not flying privately a bunch. Joaquin Phoenix gets an 8 out of 10. So moving on to Joaquin Phoenix's sustainable behavior. So the biggest thing that Joaquin does that is sustainable is his veganism. He is really passionate about fighting against the bad practices of the agriculture industry. He has pointed out that animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation, that meat production produces significant greenhouse gas emissions. Overall, Joaquin Phoenix is not into luxury or excess. He doesn't have a bunch of large mansions all over the world. During the 2020 awards season, he chose to wear the same Stella McCartney tuxedo to multiple events. He also has gotten the Golden Globes to have a plant-based menu, which again is supporting his push for more veganism and more plant-based diets. But yeah, we're gonna give him an 8 out of 10, and he's great. Good job. Go snuggle with some cows. We love it. For activism and advocacy, Joaquin Phoenix is doing a lot. He's supported organizations like Extinction Rebellion and Amazon Watch. In 2020, he starred in a short film called Guardians of Life to raise awareness about the climate crisis and deforestation. He was arrested with Jane Fonda during a climate change protest in Washington, D.C. His feet are on the pavement. We love the things that he's doing. For these reasons, he's getting an 8 out of 10. So his total score added up is 80 out of 100. Last but not least on the good list, we have Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa, very rarely from what we can see, flies private. He does not have like a fleet of a bunch of designer vehicles. Instead, he has a bunch of actually electric motorcycles. He has a Harley-Davidson Livewire, a Valkyrie Drifter motorbike. He also has a Rolls-Royce Phantom 2 that is vintage that has been made electric. Sounds cool. These are all really great attempts to reduce his carbon emissions, so for that reason he gets a 7 out of 10. So let's move on to Jason Momoa's sustainable behavior. One of the best things he's done is found a company called Mananalu Water. So basically what his company is a bottled water alternative. It's aluminum reusable bottles with water inside. And for every bottle sold, the company funds the removal of 1 plastic bottle's worth of plastic from the ocean. He's also partnered with sustainable brands. He partnered with So Ill, which is a sustainable footwear brand. He frequently wears clothing that's made from recycled or sustainable materials. For that sustainable behavior, he's getting an 8 out of 10. For Jason Momoa's activism and influence, because of his connection to the ocean from being a Hawaiian, he is really outspoken about protecting marine life. He has used his influence to support organizations focused on coral reef restoration, marine conservation, and he has spoken out about the dangers of plastic pollution on marine animals. This is such a Jason Momoa thing. He shaved his head in 2022 to raise awareness about the issue. I think he's doing really great in this area. For that reason, I will give him a 9 out of 10 for advocacy and activism. This brings his total score to 79 out of 100. He's cute too, so it doesn't hurt. I think, did I just pick people who are cute? I mean, the naughty ones were cute too. Like, these are celebrities, like, they're naturally cute. That wraps up my whole giant TED Talk on sustainable people. I hope you learned something about sustainability. I'm not trying to like bash certain celebrities or like put other celebrities on like a pedestal. I don't want it to come across that way. Like, I genuinely just want to show what a good effort towards sustainability looks like. I really like doing videos like this. I find them really interesting. And I think I actually learn a lot through doing these videos about ways that I can be more sustainable in my personal life. Yeah, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something, and hopefully it was fun. And I'll see you next time. Bye.